This is somewhat of a fun video. I don't want you guys to take this too seriously because we're talking about bounty, and bounty is not an exact science. Shout out to Brand New, because every time Brand New is in an arc or in a chapter, it's a fire chapter. The last time we saw Brand New, of course, One Piece chapter 957 Ultimate, where we got the bounties of the Yonko and of course Whitebeard and Roger. So we're talking about Marco's bounty. It probably already got revealed. We're not sure. However, we know for a fact Marco's bounty will not be shown in the canon story. Yeah, so there are a bunch of layers here to this topic, right? First off, Marco, a fan favorite now. I think always been a fan favorite, but I think within this community, Annie, Twitter, and YouTube, Marco has been through a lot. So I'm liking the love that he's getting now, but his bounty being revealed in a Vivi card pack, we gotta talk about it. But first, let's just talk about this subscribe button. If you're not subscribed, hit that button, drop a like as well. We're not gonna waste any time. We're going to get into this bounty talk because, listen, I know bounty is not an exact science, as I've mentioned, but Marco being less than 1 billion, I think that's blasphemous. So again, these are not confirmed sources, right? I can't confirm this 100%, but I've seen people say on Twitter that Marco's bounty is going to be less than 1 billion, around 999 million. It doesn't touch 1 billion. There are other more reputable sources that have said that Marco's bounty will be around 1 billion. Guys, how do you feel about that though? Okay, so we got an update and I wanted to put it in here because the blasphemy from saying it's less than 1 bill was crazy. So I'm happy we got an update before I was able to put this video out. And basically for Marco's bounty, it's apparently going to be between 1 billion and 2 billion. And according to Scotch Informer, it's going to be 1.374 billion berry. Now, we're going to cover the entire thing when it comes out because some more bounties were released and I'm somewhat disappointed in what I'm seeing here. But that's the update, and pretty much everything else I say in this video still applies. Just it being less than 1 billion, blasphemous. Okay, so when I think of bounty, the first person I think of is Monkey D. Luffy. And granted, there is nobody in history who's had the come up other than Blackbeard like Luffy, who has done the things that Luffy has done. But damn, do we think some of these characters should have higher bounties? For instance, I remember when Sabo's bounty was supposed to be revealed in the One Piece magazine. Sabo's bounty was not revealed in the story. This bounty was revealed in a One Piece magazine. I remember when it dropped, or before it dropped, everyone had Sabo bounty predictions. I think my personal prediction was 1.5 billion because I was thinking of Sabo, the right hand of Dragon, the second in command. Dragon, who's the world's most dangerous criminal. The person who is second behind him should at least be in 1 billion, right? I know he's somewhat of a newcomer, and even though people know about him, what has Sabo actually accomplished? Yes, bounty is threat level, overall threat level, and not a direct representation of strength. But Sabo is somebody that you should fear and be a bit more cautious of. The fact that his bounty was around 600 mil, but then it was a reality check. Okay, just because somebody has a big name, to me, what have they done? How important or how threatening are they to the world government? Someone like Portgas the Ace, where obviously Sengoku knew about Ace's lineage, Ace being the son of Roger. Maybe to keep it a secret and not to give Ace too much clout, they didn't just bump up his bounty to 1 billion. Same for Nico Robin a bit, where you have it high, but not too high, where it raises an alarm to everyone. Ace was only 550, and Ace was a second commander for Whitebeard. A lot of people do think that, like, if you're associated with a Yonko, you should get a bump regardless. But then for Whole Cake Island, you would think if somebody's just associated with Luffy, every single Straw Hat would have gotten a bump. They didn't. The people that were in Whole Cake Island, they got a bump. The people that were not there, they did not. So I'm interested to see how that plays out going forward. Like how many people will be directly influenced by being associated with Luffy. Like obviously you have to be within his space or within the island to benefit from Luffy's influence. But you would think just when Luffy's influence goes up, everyone else would go up with him. That doesn't seem to be the case. We can think of the comparisons, right? Someone like Katakuri, over 1 bill. Someone like Jack, exactly 1 bill. Queen, I think 1.2 bill. We haven't seen King's bounty yet, which I expect it to be a bit more. Smoothie, 900 mil. And then you have Cracker, 800 mil. So thinking about some of these characters, you got to think about threat level. For Kaido and his crew, they seem to be the more menacing crew, where for them, they're more so based on power. They're unpredictable. Again, Kaido's crew is a meritocracy, so everything is pretty much debated on, which things are typically figured out based on how strong you are. Even for Kaido, in Wano, he had a task to capture Yamato. And the reward for capturing Yamato was the opportunity to directly challenge any all-star, Jack, Queen, or King. And everyone jumped at that opportunity. So they move a little different. We see from Jack and his antics, that's a bit more dangerous than someone like Katakuri. Katakuri, for the most part, remains in Whole Cake Island, and he just wants to protect his family. He's level-headed, somebody that you can actually reason with, I guess, unless you're Jigra. But Jigra, come on, he did kind of give Big Mom his ass to kiss. But think about it, is Katakuri easier to reason with or Jack? And I think it's reflected in the bounties. Now, something that is going to be interesting is when we finally see the bounties for Shanks's commanders, Lucky Brew, Yasop, and Ben Beckman, because they were specifically mentioned in 957 Ultimate when you talk about commanders and them being prominent. Even before Shanks met them, Shanks went and found Yasop. He specifically went to search for him. So these people were prominent before meeting Shanks. So their bounties should be a bit different in comparison to some of these other individuals. I wonder for Blackbeard and his crew what they're going to do there, because they're escaped Impel Down prisoners. That would make them a bit more wanted, right? Because you don't want the world to know that, hey, these people that are supposed to be locked up, they're out walking around and they're part of Blackbeard's crew. So I want to see how they handle that. But for Marco, I've always thought that his bounty should be at least 1.5, closer to 2 bill, because not only of his position and how long he's been a part of the Whitebeard Pirates, because he was there as an apprentice when he was a kid, but also he was forced to take over after Whitebeard died. And after Whitebeard died, the Gorosei specifically mentions, hey, Marco is a candidate to become a Yonko. They have that type of crew, and he would be the captain. So therefore, you would assume just off of that recognition, you get a bump, because now you're even more dangerous because you are the direct captain. Maybe the world government was holding off on giving Marco a bump by seeing if he beats Blackbeard. Obviously he lost. So say his bounty's around 900 mil or 1 billion. Luffy went from 500 mil to 1.5. So Marco could have went from 1 bill to 3 bill easily if he had beaten Blackbeard. Blackbeard, we know now, is at 2.2 because he not only defeated Marco, he now acquired some of Whitebeard's territories. If Marco does indeed have a bounty less than 1 bill, very disappointing. I think just the fact that he's the right hand of Whitebeard for as long as he was, well, I guess you would assume he should have a significant bounty. This makes me think of Odin, because Odin, when he burst onto the scene, he got the attention of even the Roger pirates. Everyone was saying, hey, this samurai from Wano is causing a ruckus. What do we think Odin's bounty was? I'm gonna say it wasn't over 1 bill, because, you know, I think we're forgetting as you go up, it's harder for your bounty to increase. Jinbei even said for bounties, it's very difficult for it to get higher after 300 million berry. So I think for us looking at some of these 5 billion berry pirates, we're looking at pirates like Zoro and Sanji saying, hey, they just have 320, 330. That's a lot in the grand scheme of things, and it would have to do so much for it to increase even further. So for Marco, what exactly has he done in this span of time to warrant a 1.5 or 2 billion berry bounty? I think he has the best argument because he was the captain of the remnants. But what did they accomplish? What was the threat level of the remnants? Because for the world government, specifically the Gorosei, they have a good idea of personalities and motives. So for instance, they should know that the remnants, their goal was to take down the Blackbeard pirates. And based on how Whitebeard was a pacifist, where he would avoid confrontation with the world government, obviously his crew would adopt the same thing. So Marco taking over, that shouldn't raise too much alarm because he's going to follow the status quo that Whitebeard came up with. But say for instance Blackbeard took over, they have no idea what this dude can do. You have to wait and see. Then once he does something, then you increase his bounty. The more you think about it, the more it makes sense. Around 1.5 or 1 bill makes sense for Marco. His personality type, when you think about everything that he's done, longevity, 1 bill to 1.5 seems legit. Think about everything Luffy has done and being at 1.5 now. His connections, his fleet, his unconfirmed territories, his direct challenge to the world government, now his frickin' devil fruit. Should Marco be equal to that? I don't know. Yes, we're looking at the time that Luffy's been a pirate, but I think that's irrelevant in this case because Luffy is obviously special and he's done so much in his short stint as a pirate. But guys, give me your thoughts. What do you guys think Marco's bounty should be? Should it be over 1 bill? Less than 1 bill? Or is 1 billion just right? But guys, give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Guys, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
I did, I found I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite